Hey there, welcome to LC Yoga. My name is Laura, and today is day 4 of our 5-day yoga and meditation practice. In this class, we're connecting with the element of air, and that means openness, freedom, and positivity. So if you're ready, get on your mat, and I'll meet you there. We'll begin standing at the front of the mat so that the feet come about hip distance apart, and then inhale deeply while you sweep the arms up overhead. And let the arms stay about shoulder width apart and reach them high. Ground into the floor with every corner of your feet. Maybe bending the knees, and then rise up out of that. Reach tall. Shoulders are away from the ears. Spine getting longer. Gazing ahead, maybe slightly down the nose. Deep breaths. Now we're going to start to arch back. So just slightly, let the chest go up and let the shoulders go back. Bring the hands down to the hips just for a minute and sort of curl the tailbone so the hips are pressing forward. Core is strong, chest is high. Maybe the hands go to the lower back or the hips. Or you may choose to bring the arms back up again. And as you're arching, be gentle with yourself and let the weight go into the toes as the hips press forward. Lower back is long. And then come on back to neutral and lower the arms. This time when you sweep the arms overhead, we're going to grab a hold of the left wrist and then start to side bend toward the right. So kick your left hip out just a little as you side bend toward the right. Look up and turn your heart up toward the sky. And then come on back to center. We'll take that in the other direction. Grab a hold of the right wrist, start to bend toward the left. Right hip goes toward the right, looking up. And then come on back to center. Sweep the arms overhead. This time interlace the fingers and then press the palms up. Sort of use that to let the shoulders go back just a little more. Let the arms go up higher. And then bring the hands in prayer in front of the heart. Close the eyes just for a breath. Take a deep breath in through the nose. And as you exhale, let the hands come down by the sides. Inhale, sweep the arms out and up. This time bend the knees and fold forward. Uttanasana, forward fold. Inhale into a long spine. Let the crown of the head reach forward. And then exhale, step back, downward dog. Now here in downward dog, your knees can be bent. Maybe pressing one heel down and then the other as you bend the opposite knee. And then inhale your left foot up, high to the sky, and then step it forward as you exhale and lower the back knee down. Leave the fingertips on the ground, drop the hips, and let the chest reach forward. Deep breath in. On your next exhale, curl the back toes under, lift the back knee, and step to the front of the mat. Inhale it with a long spine. And exhaling, bow. Inhale, come on back up to stand. And exhale, bring it back to center, hands in prayer in front of the heart. Deep breath in. Exhale the hands down by the sides. Inhaling, sweep the arms up high. Exhale, bow forward. Inhale, long spine. Exhaling, step back, downward dog. This time in downward dog, grip the mat with your finger pads and press the chest through the shoulders a little. Stretch them out. And then come on back to your standard downward dog. Inhaling the right foot up this time. Exhaling, step it. Drop the back knee. Fingertips stay where they are. Drop the hips as you reach the chest forward. Lift the back knee, and as you inhale, step forward, reach the crown long, and exhaling, bow. Inhale, bend the knees, come on up to stand, reach high, and exhale back to center. Now let all the weight go into the left foot. And we'll take tree pose. So bring your foot to the ankle, the knee, right foot, or all the way up to the thigh. Bring the hands in prayer in front of the heart. Find a drishti, a gaze point out in front of you. Deep breaths. Maybe your hands stay there. Maybe they sweep up high overhead, palms together. Proud, tall tree. Your leaves waving in the wind. Bring the hands back down. Bring the knee in toward the chest. Stay up on that left foot. If you wobble out, come right back. Hands interlace around your right knee. Now you can stay right there. If you want to come into standing big toe, left hand to the left hip, right hand to the big right toe, and then start to kick that heel out in front of you. Again, finding a gaze point to help with balance. Long, tall spine. We're not bending forward, so bend your knee as much as you need to stand tall. And then press the heel away from that. Your right hip is actually moving backward toward the back of the mat. Now release that. One more on this leg. So bring the right foot back around behind you. And then bend into your left knee. Bring your hand to the inside of your right foot and start to kick it up as your left hand reaches forward, dancer's pose. Right shoulder pressing forward. Breathing. If you're wobbling out, come right back in. And then release, come on back to stand. Hands in prayer. Close the eyes. And let's take that all to the other side. This time the weight goes into the right foot. Bring your left foot to the ankle, the knee, or the thigh. Hands in prayer. Shoulders are broad. Stand tall, strong. Maybe the hands float up overhead. Sometimes the wind knocks trees over. We have to set them right back up again. No problem. And bring the hands in prayer in front of the heart and then draw that left knee in toward the chest. Interlace your fingers around the knee. Now you can hang out right there, or right hand, right hip, left hand, left big toe, and start to kick that heel out in front of you. Long, tall spine, bending into the right knee if that helps you absorb some of the wobble. You can also raise a hand up. Sometimes that helps. Now draw that knee back in toward the chest. Bring it behind you, your foot behind you. Hand to the inside of the foot. And then start to lean forward as you kick that foot up. Right hand goes forward. Left shoulder pressing forward. We don't want to be turned out too much. We're trying to square toward the front of the mat. And then release. Come on back to stand. Hands in prayer. Close the eyes. Deep breath in through the nose. And exhale through an open mouth. Inhaling, sweep the arms up overhead. And exhale, fold forward. And we'll hang out here in forward fold just for a moment. So maybe let the feet go hip distance apart. Bend into the knees. And as you fold, let the top of the head work its way toward the floor. And as it's doing that, the knees maybe straighten a little as the sit bones work their way up toward the ceiling. Now inhale into a long spine, halfway lift. Plant the hands as you exhale, stepping back into a downward dog. Now this time, walk the hands back toward the feet so you're in a forward fold at the back of the mat. Inhale your right foot up toward the sky. Standing split. Square the hips toward the ground and lift with your big toe. Spread the toes wide. Now inhale here, you had started with the hip squared. Go ahead and open the hip, lift the foot higher. Inhale, and then exhaling, bend into your standing leg and bring that knee behind your left knee. Inhale, reach it up again. Exhale, bend. Inhale, reach. Exhale, bend. One more time, inhale up, and exhale. This time, come all the way down and find yourself in a seated position. Left foot is tucked by or right foot is tucked by the left hip. Right foot over on the other side of your right leg. Knee going straight up toward the ceiling, and we'll do a seated spinal twist. So inhale, get tall. Exhale, wrap the arm around and begin to twist from the belly button. Left hand behind you like a post to keep the spine long. As you inhale, you get taller. And as you exhale, you twist. A few more breaths like that. And then release, take a nice little counter twist in the other direction. And then we're going to come out the same way we came in. So plant that left foot and then reach your right leg up toward the sky. And then step back of the mat in a forward fold. This time lift the left leg up. Start with the hips squared, reaching up with the big toe. And then as you inhale, open the hip, reach the leg higher. And then exhale, bend into the standing leg, left knee behind. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, bend. Inhale, lift. Exhale, bend. Inhale, lift. Exhale, bend. This time, come all the way down into seated. This time you're reversed. So your left foot is over by your right hip, right foot up and over, right knee up toward the sky. Wrap your arm around, inhale, get tall, and exhaling, twisting from the belly button. release that. Take a nice little counter twist in the other direction. And then again, we'll come out the same way we went in. So pressing into the right foot, left leg goes high, and then step, step. Forward fold at the back of the mat. And then let's kind of bear walk our way into a downward dog. And then we'll keep walking, bring the feet all the way up so you're in a forward fold at the front of the mat. On your next inhale, well, first bring your feet closer together. So maybe the big toes touch. And as you inhale, bend the knees and inhale it into a chair pose. Reach the arms high. Deep breath in here. And as you exhale, bring the hands in prayer in front of the heart. And now we're going to twist. So bring your left elbow to your right knee and press your hands together, lifting up out of that shoulder. So you're in chair in a prayer twist. Now from here, look down at the ground and then step back with your left foot. So you're in a lunge. Lower the knee and then press again into your hands and lift up out of that shoulder. Now the idea here is to get a hip stretch. So you're pressing your knee and your hip away from each other. Deep breath. And then release the hands down by the front foot. Shift the hips back, toes up, half split. Inhaling, get long in the spine. And exhaling, bow. One more time, inhale. And exhale. And then hold here with the right hip pulling back. Now bend into the front knee. Place the left hand on the ground and inhale your right arm up overhead. Sink the hips down, heart up to the sky. Reach and lift up out of your left shoulder. Press down with that hand. And then swim your right hand forward, lift the back knee, step back to the front of the mat. Inhale, get long. Exhaling, fold. Bring the feet back together. On your next inhale, bend into your knees and reach the arms overhead, chair pose. Bring the hands in prayer in front of the heart, and we'll twist toward the right. So right elbow, left knee, and then press the hands together, lift up out of your right shoulder. Look down at the ground, step back with the right foot, and lower the knee. And then twist some more. Drop the hips, press the hands. And again, you're moving your knee and your hip away from each other. So bind it. And then release. Hands down by the front foot. Shift the hips back. Toes up. Half split. Deep breath in, crown of the head reaches forward. Exhaling, bow, pull the hip back. One more time like that, inhaling. And exhale. And hang out here for a few breaths. On your next inhale, bend into the front knee, plant the left hand and reach the left arm up. Dropping the hips, lift up out of the shoulder by pressing down with your right hand. Gripping the mat with your finger pads to take the pressure out of the wrist. deep breath in here. This time as you exhale, bring the hand down to frame your front foot and then step back into downward dog. And then we'll come right through into seated. Let your left foot go out in front of you, right foot to the inner thigh. Scoot the hips back, starting with a bent knee, and start to come forward with a flat back, reaching the crown of the head toward the front of the mat, drawing your hip back. Janu. Deep breaths. Not trying to get the nose on the shin, but working the top of the head or even the chest toward the front of the mat. Changes the stretch completely. And then we'll walk the hands up and we'll just simply change sides. So right leg out, left foot in. Start with a bent knee, scoot the hip back. Inhaling to get tall, and then exhaling to fold. Drawing the crown of the head forward. Spine gets longer with every breath. On your next inhale, walk the hands back up. Scoot the hips forward so you can roll down onto your back. Draw the knees into the chest just for a squeeze. And then let the bottoms of the feet come together, knees out to the side. Supta Baddha Konasana. Just to let the hips open. And with the hands, you can place one on the belly and one on the heart. Just let that sink in. And hopefully you're in a room where you can feel the air moving, flowing all around you, cooling your skin from that warming practice. Just letting the hips open, lower back opens. If this doesn't feel good, you may want to place something under your knees, or maybe even just walk the feet the width of the mat and knock your knees together. It opens the lower back in a different way. Now finally, wherever you are, bring the knees straight up toward the sky. Draw the knees in toward the chest. Give them a squeeze. Let the feet float up high to the sky, bottoms of the feet straight up. Grab a hold of the backs of the knees, the calves, or the big toes. Bend the knees so that you can keep the lower back on the floor. And then start to draw your tailbone toward the front of the mat. Heels are kicking up toward the sky. And be where you can have your arms a little bent. So if that means bending the knees deeply, then do that. This is as much for the lower back as it is for the legs. So breathe into both, get long. And then release and let your legs go long out in front of you, about the width of the mat. Feet flop open. Palms open to the sky. Snuggle in, get comfy for Shavasana. Take a deep breath in through the nose. And then let it out through an open mouth. And then let the breath do whatever it wants and let everything sink down. Feel the air moving over your skin as you continue to cool down. Feeling more open. Feeling the freedom that comes with movement. That's the gift of yoga. You can stay here as long as you like. And when you're ready, start to bend into the knees, place the bottoms of the feet on the floor, hands to the upper thighs. Drawing the knees in toward the chest, give them a squeeze. And grab the backs of the knees, rolling up to sit. Find a comfortable seat. Backs of the hands to the knees, thumb and forefinger touch, and close the eyes. The next class in this series will be Yin Yoga for Calm. It's a very slow moving class. And while that one is named for calm, very often we have to move energy and tension out of the body before we can feel calm. And I think that's what we accomplished today. Thank you for taking time to step on your mat. Namaste.